We did the lunchtime session on the question of collective intelligence. What is it that makes an organisation or a city or even a nation more intelligent, perhaps more than the sum of its parts? And the reason why I think this was an interesting question is there's a lot of examples of institutions or places which have lots of intelligent capacity, perhaps great universities, research institutions, packed with technology, but then do incredibly stupid things. We saw this in the financial sector in the crash, where lots of the companies with the brightest people and spent millions on smart technology nevertheless were very foolish in their big decisions. Or we discussed the US Congress and how aspects of the American political system almost dumbed down the capabilities the US has, whereas other countries like an Estonia or a Singapore with much fewer resources nevertheless managed to make very smart decisions. We're in an era when we're seeing an extraordinary innovation around tools for collective intelligence. In a way, this has been a story throughout civilization, the role of libraries, accounting systems, markets, parliaments, coffee houses, universities. All of these are techniques for mobilizing the brain power of lots of people. And now we're seeing things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, open data. All of these are new technologies for making us collectively smarter, again, in a company or a city or a nation. But we haven't really worked out how to fit those into the real life of organizations. And so I was talking about some ways of thinking about that, how we think about the different aspects of intelligence, like observation or creativity or judgment or memory or wisdom. And in particular, sometimes the tension between sort of linear classical reasoning of the kind a computer can do and the sort of wisdom which we would recognize as the ability to perhaps think in more complex ways, to think about ethics, to think about the wider meaning of your actions. We had a very, very lively conversation, lots of opinions. People at this sort of event are interested in intelligence, perhaps because they are very intelligent. We had Simon Sharma asking questions about how power often tries to obscure facts and knowledge in order to keep power. David Aronovich talked about the emergence of coffee houses in London in the 18th century, and that's a sort of a new way of organising almost spontaneous intelligence from the ground up. Adrian Wildridge talked about how Singapore had very consciously, over 40 years, tried to enhance its intelligence as a city through education and technology. I think we were probably left with more questions than answers, but the hunch, I guess, is that this will become increasingly a field of research, of study, and of action. As people try to answer more coherently, how do you turn 100, 1,000, 1,000,000 brains into something more than the sum of their parts?